What do I use now? Yeah, I use simulated weapon fire. You know, thunder flashes, blanks, whatever. And the minute that that rings out, you then go into that sequence. And I get you to do it how? Until you can do it how? Again, instinctive. Over and over again until it becomes instinctive. In the process of all this, remember we talked to the psychiatrist about some of the signs of post-traumatic stress. And several of the things in post-traumatic stress of the criteria are hypervigilance, that's being extra vigilant, and an exaggerated startle response. That means being startled, but in a much more intense way. Rather than a freeze, you actually go into some sort of action. What do you think these sorts of responses are? They are hypervigilant, aren't they? Extra alert. So what I'm saying is that of all the groups people that may suffer post-traumatic stress, the soldier is probably the only one who is trained in advance for some of the criteria for post-traumatic stress. So if you think that this criteria is because you went to Vietnam, what I'm saying is that you were actually trained to be that way before you went. To give those of you a bit of an idea of how powerful this training has to be, I want you all to imagine that we've got a busy street out here. Okay? Traffic going up and down, up and down. Right? All of a sudden, two cars meet. Bang. What would the normal response be? What would you normally do when you heard that? You'd stop. You'd turn and have a look at it. You'd look out at the traffic and there's the two cars. If they're stationary, you make a decision about what it is you're going to do. However, in this case, one of them has ricocheted off the other and it is coming straight towards the window for you. What would you do? Which way? Okay, it's coming this way, you run that way. Tell me what the rule is in an ambush. Face into the ambush and do what? Go at it. Assault through it. Which is equivalent to doing what? For those of you who haven't been in the military, what you've got to train a soldier to do is to actually walk towards the car coming towards you. Because that's what you have to do in an ambush, turn into it. So that's equivalent to the car coming towards you, you turning towards it, and as it comes to you, you walk towards it. Now you tell me, is that a normal, natural thing to do? Your whole body is saying to you, get away, get away, get away. But you have to be so well trained that you will override that. I get you to do that through this process. Okay. We said that this process changes your flight and fight. What do you think I've now done by the end of 6 months to this response here? Okay, so what am I working on getting rid of? I'm working on getting rid of that. And instead of operating in this normal area in the middle, which you could call the flow area, a bit of give and take, where am I pushing you? Towards this way here. Okay, now obviously we're in Australia, it's in a peacetime environment in Australia. So I can't have you being right here, can I? Otherwise you'd be punching the lights out on everybody. So what do you think I'm actually doing? What do you think I'm doing to you? Programming into you or what? All right, a level of alertness. What is a video recorder or a TV when it isn't on but it isn't off? Standby. Okay, so let's say that what we've got somewhere in here, a standby button. In other words, instead of going into the fight mode from here or going into the flight mode, I've got you up here, so you have just a limited and a much quicker reaction time. Follow? The automatic, the exaggerated, you fire up a lot faster. At the end of this session here, at the end of your core training, what else do you get? Another reward. And who do you do this in front of? Okay, now, by now, of course, what are civilians? They are somewhere back down there. You don't talk to them, you don't associate with them, they know nothing. You are what? Wars fought by young men. What are you? What else are you? What else are you? Fighting machines, the best soldiers that have ever been produced, the greatest in the world, invincible, all that sort of stuff. If you don't believe that, what's going to happen? All right. Okay, so I've programmed that button into you. Now I want you to start to think about your life in 3 cups of water. Pre-military, you consider yourself a cup of water. In the bottom of your glass of water or your cup of water, there's a little bit of water in the bottom, which I call good stress. What is good stress?
One that you manage.
Manage? What does it actually do? Get you motivated, get you out of bed, get you showered, dressed, get you breakfast, get you up and moving from being in bed. It isn't debilitating, it's not bad, it's not dangerous, it is just that little bit of stress. Now, on a daily basis, out of the environment in which you live, various stressors occur, and they could be related to work, they could be related to money, they could be related to family, and all sorts of other things. What do those stressors do to your level of water as they occur? Raises the level. As you deal with those stressors, what happens to the level of water? It goes down. So on a daily basis or a weekly basis, as things occur, your stress builds up, you deal with it, it goes down. And that's how you operate. If the stress builds up too much, what happens to the water?
Overflows.
It overflows. Okay, so it's got a natural overflow. And the normal natural overflow could be something like tears or some sort of sign that you're under a bit of pressure and it's over the top. So you have a great capacity to deal with life's daily pressures. I've now taken this civilian and subjected them to this sort of training. All right? I've created that button. Where do you think I've put that button in the cup of water? 5/8 of the way up? You said at the top. Let's try up there. Why do I put it at the top of the cup? No more than that, because I don't want what to happen. I don't want you to break down. I don't want you to go into that overflow. What I want you to do is when that stress builds up, I want you to explode into, guess what I've taught you? Explode into this automatic action. So this standby button now becomes an anger button. Your normal level of good stress is there. But remember now, what I've also done is I've put you on a higher level of alert. So this has got to be in your cup somewhere. And we'll make it nice and blue. And we'll put it up here. And we'll call that alert. And that extra alertness equates to this shift up here. Switched on. You're more switched on. You're a switched on soldier. You're not fighting at this stage, but you're switched on. And you go to war. They send you off to war. Now, war is one humongous great stressor, is it not? Just going into a war zone is a stressor. Then around that you have things like, if you're in harbour, mines or likely mines. On the roads you've got landmines. You could be out, you could have sniper fire, artillery fire. They are little stressors on top of the big stress of war. Each time you meet one of these stressors when you're out in the field, what happens? Goes up, up, and all of a sudden, the weapon's fired, you hit that button, and what do? You respond. How? Instinctively, without thought. You explode. Because fighting is all about exploding, is it not? You have to hate. So why is it that you hate the enemy? What does hating the enemy allow you to do? To kill him. Because in the end, what is war actually about? No, forget eliminate. Let's say the word. What is war about? Not even winning. It's about what? No? Killing. It's about you kill them before they kill you. You don't go out there in a war zone to bat the cricket ball or whatever backwards and forwards and win by getting out more runs than the other guy. You go out there to make sure that you can kill them before they kill you. So that explosion, you have to have anger and you have to have hate. Hate is the emotion that will fire up the anger, that will release the adrenaline, that will let you fight. You can't hit the adrenaline if you don't have anger and the hate. What I do in this training is to say that if I'm going to give you the hate, that's where the enemy have all their various names, but they're never called by a name. If I give you the hate and I teach you the anger, I also give you the skills to use instinctively when you hit that button, which means that when you get angry, you fight. You explode into anger and do what the angry thing's in. Now, you hit that button. How many times could you hit that button in one day, let alone in 1 week or 1 month or 1 year? Many, many times. In fact, towards over time, you even hit that button with your mates. Remember your mates in the tent who were your mates in the first week or 2 or 3? How were they starting to look by about month 3 or month 4? How did you start to fight and get on each other's nerves? So in the end, it was safer to put you back out in the field than to have you back behind. So this goes on and on and on. Remember here though, when you did this well, you got a reward. When you did this well, you got a reward. When you do this well, you get a reward as well. What is the reward for doing this well?
Come back and come out.
Staying alive. Life. Can you think of a greater reward? It's not about medals. It's not about your cans. It's not about leave, is it? What is it actually about? I did this well enough that I survived. Can you understand where this survivor guilt comes from? If you survive and your mate didn't. Okay? Because you make the assumption that he didn't survive because he didn't do it well and you were somehow at fault because you should have taught him better to do it well. And so you start to get the guilts about the fact that somebody died and you didn't. But irrespective of that, what you've got to be clear about is if the reward is that you lived, what does that say about this system? Okay, you make a direct connection, do you not, between this reward and this training, and you say it is a absolutely brilliant system. Because it did what? It saved my life. So I've embedded it in you. So far, can you see what's happened? I've taken away from you your normal stress response, your normal civilian way of operating, and in its place I put a totally different package with severe inner stress, with a button, an explosive anger button, and given you a reward. Okay? Now, you come back, and here we are, post-war cup. What have I got to put in that cup? Did we have any form of debriefing? Okay, so what's missing off that cup at the moment? There are some other things I've got to put there. Okay, so you're still hyped up. Maybe not to the same level because you have come back.